Hello, everyone. Welcome to the end of week 5 of the webinar series, Embracing Change. We've been talking about the challenges and the opportunities that we've had during this period of cocooning, lockdown, circuit breaker, depending on the country you're in, been using different terminologies. And we've had time to reflect on what is important and who is important. And now we re-enter. As we'll see, Jonathan is in Switzerland, and Monday, the school started at halftime and people started to go back to work, obviously in stages. We are now being asked, how are we going to show up? What's going to be different? And today we have the honor and privilege to have Jonathan, our life coach at Genetic Care, to share with us how to take the best foot forward in order to leverage our talents, to make the best decisions with clarity of mind in the best interest of not only ourselves, our loved ones, and all of those that we impact, what in reality is humanity. So without further ado, get ready. Those of you who know Jonathan have bathed in his incredible energy. For the rest of you, get ready. It's going to be one hell of a ride. Jonathan, welcome.
Thank you very much, Feisal, and for those kind words. Welcome, everybody. I'm sitting here in my basement in Switzerland. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you are safe. I hope you are healthy. That's the most important. We're living through a paradigm shift, as we know. We're experiencing it in different ways. And before I get to the purpose of this webinar and introduce myself, there's something I'm sharing with my clients around the world, and it's 3 questions as we go from this period of confinement or lockdown or self-isolation and the world starts to open up again, okay? And here are the 3 questions I invite you to reflect on. You don't need to answer them now, but just to reflect on them. Question number 1 is, what have you enjoyed the most about this confinement period? What have you enjoyed the most? The 3 things you've enjoyed the most about this confinement period. That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, what have you missed the most about the outside world? What are the 3 things you've missed the most about the outside world? And the 3rd question is, how are you going to keep the things you've enjoyed, and how are you going to prioritize the things you've missed in your life going forward? I'll repeat that. How are you going to keep these 3 things that you've really enjoyed in your life in this confinement period? And how are you going to prioritize the things that you've missed as you go forward? Okay, because if there's one outcome from this very interesting but dramatic period we're living, is that how do we how do we make it better for the future than it was before? Okay, so I can invite you to ask these questions at the dinner table, ask every member of your family. I've done it at home. A lot of my clients have been doing it, and it's been a very interesting exercise to take the best out of this period so that life is better going forward. Voila. So, and that's what this webinar is all about. It's about creating a better future. Before getting to the purpose and objectives of today's webinar, maybe a couple of words about myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm a life and leadership coach, but I haven't always been that. In fact, up until 4 years ago, I was a lawyer looking after some of the wealthiest families in the world from a law firm here in Geneva, Switzerland. And basically what I was doing was structuring and protecting fortunes in all jurisdictions and all types of assets, which basically meant protecting people's wallets. But 2 things happened. One is that I realized that despite having outside success, fantastic clients, very good remuneration, very comfortable and prestigious law firm, I was feeling not successful on the inside. So the outside success wasn't something I was feeling on the inside. That was number 1. The second thing was that I was noticing that I felt I wasn't helping the families, my clients, in the right place. It wasn't necessarily in the wallet that I was truly helping them. I felt that the major issues in families were in the mind and in the heart. Okay, so I quit. I quit the law. I quit the law firm. A lot of people were very surprised because I had a very nice position, very nice clients, and went about creating an approach, a methodology for myself at first, which was to align my mind and my heart. Okay, and I did it in 3 steps, as it turned out. That's a whole other story. I won't get into it now, but it involved traveling through Asia and really having some incredible experiences. And the 3 steps I discovered were better understanding the mind, how we function in terms of how we take decisions, our habitual thoughts, our dominant thoughts, our key relationships, and basically the systems that we have that make up our operating system in the mind. That was step 1. Step 2 was going down to the heart, all right? Reconnecting, rediscovering who I was, asking myself questions such as, what's my vision of happiness? What are my core values, my greatest talents, my aspirations? And discovered my identity, my purpose, and my passions, okay? And the 3rd step of this process was joining them together, joining these 2 amazing, powerful forces, the power of the mind, this great supercomputer we have, and the power of the heart, which not only gives us life by pumping blood around our body, but where a lot of our values are and our identity and purpose, etc. Because I don't want these 2 to be fighting with each other, all right, like they often do. I want them to be connected and unleashing the potential of both so that these 2 powerful forces of mind and heart work together. It so transformed me that I thought, wow, this is amazing. Let me try it on some other people. I tried it on them and it transformed them. And 4 years later, here I am speaking to you, very privileged, very humble to be able to serve people from around the world, CEOs from big companies, high net worths, friends, family, all kinds of people who want to find this alignment. And so it's on this basis that I've prepared this webinar today, which allows us to get to the purpose of why we're here. So the purpose of today's webinar is to help you learn how to leverage your greatest talents towards improving your decision making. Okay, now why is that important? It's important because our talents are what distinguish us, all right? They separate us from the others and help us to shine and to contribute to ourselves, our family, our community, okay? And we have these great gifts, but if we're not using them, it's akin to us limiting our potential, when I believe we're here to unleash our potential for the good of the people we love and the world at large, okay? The second reason is we're entering this new environment. I call it a paradigm shift. It's a new world, okay? And this new world is rocking the very foundations of society in terms of the way we travel, the way we interact with each other, and things like that. There's a lot of shaky ground at the moment, okay? And it is so important that all of us put our best foot forward, as Feisal was saying, okay? Because we're going to need to put our best foot forward with what's coming, because it's not necessarily going to be good news, at least for the next 6 to 18 months. The third reason why it's important to leverage our talents is that, in my experience, observing some of the wealthiest people in the world, being at the table next to them as they go through as they operate their businesses, is that most successful people I've seen have clarity on their talents. They can describe what they are and have integrated those talents into their decision-making process, so they keep on using their talents in whatever situation. It's just easier that way. And the final reason this is important is that I travel around the world, I speak at conferences, and when I meet someone, I pretty much, after saying, hi, how are you? I go straight to the crux and I say, can you tell me what your greatest talents are? Can you tell me what your core values are? Can you tell me what your vision of happiness is? Some people are a little shocked. It's quite personal, but I want to get straight to the core of the person. And 95% of the people I ask those questions to cannot answer me. They haven't thought about what their greatest talents are, which is, if you think about it, quite incredible, all right? But we're so running around, we're so busy that often we don't ask ourselves the key questions. And hopefully this confinement period that we've all lived through and are maybe still living through have helped us connect to those key questions, which have such a natural energy about them if you have the answers, as I'll explain soon. Okay, so how are we gonna achieve this purpose of leveraging your talents to improve your decision making? I'm gonna guide you through a series of exercises. Okay, this is going to be a very interactive session. That's how I work. I'm high energy, as Feisal knows and my clients know, and it's all about learning by doing. Okay, there's no point me talking it to you for an hour. It's just not how I operate, and I think that we learn better by experiencing, by really doing it ourselves. So there'll be no slides. Okay, I'm not a slides person. It'll be my job to keep you engaged. Okay. And to help us in the exercises, hopefully you've all received this worksheet, okay? It was in several of the emails that asked you to download it. Here it is here, okay? It's a worksheet which Jamie's going to put on, not now, Jamie, but later. But basically it's a worksheet which contains a circle with 9 cheeses in the circle representing values, talents, and aspirations. We're going to be working on this sheet, but if you don't have it for any reason, if you didn't download or if you didn't receive it or for whatever reason, no problem. What you'll need is a paper and a pen or pencil. That's all you'll need, okay? In terms of how we're going to achieve this purpose, there are 3 steps, okay? Number 1, we're going to identify your talents, okay? We're going to do it here live. But we're not just going to do your talents. We're also going to do your values, 3 values, and 3 aspirations. Now, why is Jonathan talking to us about values and aspirations when this is a webinar about talents? Well, there's a natural energy system. There's a natural ecosystem, which I'll come back to in a minute, which means that we're not going to leave talents in a vacuum because they never exist in a vacuum. They exist in a wider ecosystem. I'll come back to that. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to integrate these talents, aspirations, and values into your decision-making process. Okay, that's going to be number 2, so that we can give it a very practical application, all right? This is all about practicalities and you being able to change things as you go out of this webinar. And the third thing we're going to do is I'm going to invite you to make some commitments going forward, okay, to yourself. All right, these webinars are fantastic. I've enjoyed watching the genetic care webinars and other webinars, and they're great, but they need to lead to something, right? They need to lead to change. Otherwise, it's a really nice moment together, but we want change. We want to move forward. We want to improve, okay? So that's why I always finish my webinars with your commitments going forward. What are you going to change? What are you going to hold yourself accountable for? Okay, great. So that's the agenda in terms of what the 3 steps we're going to do. Now to the conduct, or what I call code of conduct. So everybody's muted for obvious reasons, right? So that we don't jump around, we don't get distracted by sounds. I've left the chat open, okay? We've left it open, but I don't want it to be used as, yeah, hi, how's it going, sort of discussion while I'm speaking, okay? We're leaving the chat open so that actually you can do the exercises and share them with the group. There'll be 2 ways of sharing them with the group. Either you'll only share them with me, in which case you'll write at the bottom to panelist, okay, which is me and Feisal and Jamie. Or if you leave it to everybody in the chat, what you write, everyone will see. Okay, I'm very conscious, and we are very conscious of confidentiality, etc., especially when we're talking about values, talents, aspirations. So if you want it not to be visible to everybody, just address your feedback to panelists. Okay, when I ask you to do it, nothing now. Okay. What's next? There's a Q&A. There's a Q&A button at the bottom, so you're probably used to this now. But if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please write them in the Q&A. And Feisal, if you can have a look at that and collect them so that at the end you can come back to me with 2 or 3 questions which englobe people's questions. That would be fantastic. Great. Finally, in terms of closing this introduction, what does success look like? All right. Success looks like 3 things. Number 1, you have clarity on your talents and how you can express them in your decision making and in your everyday life and in your business. Okay, you have that clarity. Number 2 is that you have practical tools that you can apply professionally, personally in your business as soon as this is finished. Okay, again, I'm very practical. It's the old lawyer in me saying, right, what's the outcome? What's the outcome? And number 3 is that this is a fun and energetic hour and you are super happy you came, all right? Because I know you've got other things, but you took a lot of value away. So that's what success looks like. Okay, so now that's enough talking by me. Let's get into the exercises. So what we're about to do is I'm gonna take you through an exercise I've created called the Power of 9, okay? We're gonna identify our 3 core values, our 3 greatest talents, and our 3 deepest aspirations. So Jonathan, why are you asking me to identify values and aspirations when this is a webinar about talents? So the answer is this. Talents live in an ecosystem, and I'm going to turn to nature to prove it to you, okay? Imagine an eagle, okay? An eagle standing firm on the ground or holding onto a branch very solidly, comfortable in who the eagle is. Decides to then start flying, spreads its wings and flies up into the sky doing what it does best. If you've ever seen an eagle fly, it's poetry in motion, okay? And while it's expressing its great talent, which is flying, it's going in a direction. It's going towards something. Probably it's food, right? Or dinner for the family in the evening, okay? So from a standing start to spreading its wings and flying to going to a direction. Let me take another animal, a cheetah, the fastest animal on the planet, okay? From a very stable, calm starting point, it unleashes its greatest talent, which is running at over 100 kilometers an hour, okay? Again, towards a direction which is chasing its dinner, okay? Same thing for us. If I translate this into humans, all right? We need to start from an anchored position with strong foundations. These are our values, and I'm going to ask you to come up with 3. We then want to literally spread our wings or run like a cheetah in terms of what we do, what are our greatest talents, and express those to the world. And third, we want to go towards something. Just like the cheetah and the eagle go towards their dinner, we want to go towards something. Most of us are lucky to be able to eat and drink without thinking about it, so that's not our prime, it's something which we have. But what are these aspirations? What are we going towards? What direction are we going to express those talents in? So you see, it's a natural thing in nature, hence why to leverage your talents, you need to have the anchoring from the values and the direction that comes from the aspirations. Otherwise, you identify your talents, which is great, but you don't have the ecosystem on either side, which actually truly makes them function, okay? So I'll give you a final example in terms of why the power of 9. Take a tree, okay? A tree has deep roots, which anchors it, values, okay? Not only does it anchor the tree, but the tree is connected to the rest of the forest, right? Underneath the ground, there's all these intricacies, etc. Now, that's like us. We are connected by values to our friends, to our business partners, right? We find each other connected by these values, just like a tree with its roots. The tree then does what it does best. It creates an ecosystem through growing, okay, and always growing upwards, providing a place for birds to live, for ants and things like that. And it's doing what it does best, which is photosynthesis, okay? Taking the energy of the light and transforming it into oxygen, which helps us breathe, okay? That's what it does best. And it's always going towards its source of energy, okay? The sun, the light, etc. So a tree has actually got 2 sources of energy. It's going upwards towards its source of energy for photosynthesis, and it's actually being nurtured from below, from the ground, etc., and the connection with other people, okay? And its talents are in between. I think you get it now, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to go straight into identifying your values, okay? We're going to start with that because that is the anchoring, okay? So, definition of values. I'm not too fussy about words, but values is basically what's really truly important to you, okay? It could even be standards of behavior as the official definition, but what is important to you? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take you through a guided exercise where I'm going to ask you to just take a few breaths and then come up with your 3 core values. Once you've done that, I want you to put them into the chat either for everybody, okay, or just a panelist if you don't want to share them out, okay? If you don't want to share it all, no problem. It's totally up to you, okay? I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable or pressured or anything like that. How we're going to come to find out our 3 core values is as follows, okay? It's not a mental exercise. The values aren't up here. They're in the heart, okay? So we're going to take a few deep breaths, okay, together, okay? And just connect to your heart. You can close your eyes like me if you want, okay? A few deep breaths, just calm it all down. Imagine you're connecting to your heart, okay? And what I want you to do is imagine there's a blank wall in front of you, okay? With nothing on it, apart from your name, okay? On a blank wall. And underneath your name, on this blank wall, there are 3 words, okay? 3 words, which are your core values, which are these words that are just so, they define you, who you are. If there was nothing left of you but the name on the wall and these 3 words, you would say, yep, that is me. So I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock to just let you ask your heart to reveal your values to you. It's definitely not a mind exercise. Ask your heart. 2 minutes on the clock starting now. And truly connect. What are those 3 words? And these, in a sense, are your non-negotiables. They are part of your DNA. Mine are love, honesty, and making a difference. Whether making a difference is a value or not, doesn't matter. Pick those 3 words that just resonate in you so fundamentally as you see that blank wall. Okay. So once you've done that, share it in the chat if you want, with the whole group or just with us as panelists. I won't be mentioning any names. Okay, just so that we connect to the energy of all of our values. Okay, another 10 seconds. Great. Okay, so just looking at the chat, discipline, honesty, spirituality, thank you, loyalty, honesty also, genuine, empathy, courage, strength and determination, commitment to the planet, creativity, okay, sincerity, honesty, trust, a lot of honesty coming up, integrity as well. Wow, a lot of, in terms of the patterns I'm seeing, a lot of integrity, a lot of honesty, family, very important, positivity, team player, optimism, traveler, creativity, absolutely, compromise, interesting, okay, good one. Yeah, all of these fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing. Creativity, kind, loyal, compassion, family, curiosity, passion. Right. There's a lot of, let's say, groups there of very interesting values. And there's probably no coincidence that we're also all connected on this webinar right now. I don't believe in coincidence at all. So thank you very much for sharing. And I hope you're able to go down into your heart, okay? Because that's where it happens. So we're so focused on the mind, and our mind is our normally our go-to place first, but this invites us to go down to the heart, okay? Outward mindset, family, curiosity, passion. Okay, wonderful. Okay, thank you very much. The idea behind that, as you've understood, is for us to have that absolutely critical anchoring, okay? We always start anything from a standing position, okay, well, from a position of stability without movement. And then we get into movement, whether it's through our decisions or physically, etc. And it's so important that we feel comfortable in terms of who we are without doing anything, without thinking anything in a sense, but just as we are, okay? Now, obviously, meditation helps with that, and different practices and breathing, but it's nice to put some words on it as well. What are the things that are so important to me that they are my non-negotiables? And how am I going to live my values going forward? Okay, and I'm going to come back to this because we're going to integrate that into our decision-making process. Okay, because if we're living our values, then we'll have the sense of going towards something which is fundamental to who we are. If we go against our values, that's normally when the trouble starts and we overreact. Okay, well done everybody on that first exercise, and thank you very much for sharing. Adventurous, passion, kindness, some more coming through there. Okay, number 2 exercise, the second exercise is relating to talents. Okay, now we're coming into the talents. So a talent is, it's what you do best. It's how you show up. It's these things that you do without even knowing necessarily how you do them, but you just do them really, really well. Okay, I'll give you an example. Talent, one of my talents is connecting the dots. Okay, I'm able to listen to people and I start seeing patterns between what they've said at the beginning and end, etc. And I basically connect those patterns and then play it back to people. That's what I do in my coaching. And people go, oh, I never realized that was connected. So I'm just using my talent of connecting the dots. Another one is, for instance, communication. People have said to me, Jonathan, you're a great communicator. We understand you. We get it. Maybe it's because I use stories all the time, like trees and cheetahs and eagles and things like that. I don't know. I just do it. That's the way I operate, okay? So the point now is for you to come up with your 3 greatest talents. And people have a lot of difficulty with this, often because, one, they don't want to come across as arrogant, right? You know, oh, I'm great at this, that, and we don't often like saying things like that. But also, a lot of people have never really thought about it. We just do stuff, right? We just get on with it. We live, right? That's the imperative. So this is a really good opportunity for you to come up with your 3 greatest talents. And how we're going to do it is, please come with me again on this journey, closing your eyes if necessary, taking a couple of deep breaths. Okay, a couple of deep breaths. Because it's all in the heart where it happens. Okay, breathing connects us to the heart. So what I want you to do is imagine 100 of your closest friends. Okay, it's a nice visualization because we haven't been able to see them like we would want to in this confinement period. So imagine 100 of your closest friends together with you, and they talk to each other and come up with your 3 greatest talents that they believe are your top 3. You've got a lot of talents, but what are the top 3 talents, the top 3 things that you do that you're just fantastic at? Okay, could be anything. Could be synthesizing, could be your ability to adapt, could be the way you think, could be how sensitive you are, how you listen. It could be anything that you do as a process. Okay, so come up with your 3 greatest talents now, and then please share in the chat. I'll put 2 minutes on the clock again. Stop. reset. There we go. Off you go. Those 3 greatest talents. If you're next to someone, okay, ask them. Say, well, what are my 3 greatest talents? And just take it in. You've got more than 3, but I'm asking for your 3 greatest ones. Take a moment now. Okay, so I'm saying motivate, manage, communicate. Oh, thank you. Communication, charismatic personality, absolutely. Great talent to being charismatic. Authentic, thank you. Prodigy talents, thank you. Developing relationships, absolutely. Problem solving, selling and getting people involved. Okay, very nice. Thank you for sharing. Empathy, connecting the dots. Okay, I have a similarity, connecting the dots. Generosity, wow, great. All great talents I'm seeing here. Being passionate, leading the team. Singing, wonderful, singing. We need a lot of that at the moment as well. Being a natural leader, connecting people and ideas. Yeah, clear communicator. Yeah, a lot of communication, a lot of clear communication, which is absolutely critical. And we've seen in the last 3 months that some leaders have shown terrible communication and confused people. So empathetic, thank you. Rebel disruptor, thank you. Right. Okay, being able to challenge, okay, as a rebel disruptor. Ability to reinvent during difficult times. I'm going to come back to that. That's absolutely the magician. Interesting. Very interesting. There's some very interesting ones. I'm tempted to sort of ask everybody, and I know we don't have time, but I'm fascinated by your talents and the stories behind them, and why you think these are your greatest talents. And think of the examples of when you express them. So that's 2 minutes. I'll stop the clock now. So, wow, we've got some fantastic talents here. High quality work, problem solver, comes back, interpersonal skills, absolutely critical in this day and age. Treating others with kindness. Wow, absolutely. Again, and we've seen great kindness in terms of clapping in the evenings and essential workers and supporting people like that. I know people have gone down to hospitals with pizzas and all kinds of things going on just to help people. Don't stop. Okay, I don't know what that means. Loyalty, sales, honesty. Oh, don't stop as a talent. Yeah, don't stop. So you persevere. My apologies. You persevere. You go through to the end, however hard it is. Kindness, helping others, storytelling, absolutely. Action, motivator, adding value. Wow, fantastic talents. It just energizes me just reading your talents and knowing that there are people on this webinar that have so much to give to the world, so much to give to themselves, their families, their communities in the world, because we need all of those talents now. Okay, and that's why I could have chosen a lot of things, but now is the time to leverage our talents. And the first step is identifying them, which we're doing now, understanding that they're in the ecosystem, which is this power of 9, as I call it, values, talents, aspirations, and then applying it through decision making. Okay, thank you very much, all of you, for sharing your talents. I want to meet every single one of you. I mean, I'm inspired by what I'm reading, so thank you. Okay, so here's the feedback on talents, okay? Knowing your talents is critical. Reminding yourself of your talents is even more critical, and applying them is the most critical, okay? If they stay in a box, they're no help to anyone, and that all they will do is frustrate you. These are your natural gifts, and I reckon that all of these things you've written down, you just do it, right? You just storytell, you motivate, you communicate, and you don't even really necessarily know how you do it. These are these great talents, these gifts that we've been given. And I don't know why you're here or why I'm here, but I'm pretty sure it's to be myself and for you to be yourself and to express your talents in the world, okay? For me, it makes sense, right? But the greatest talent of all is being able to express your talents in any given context. I'll repeat that because it's so critical and people miss it. The greatest talent is to be able to express your talents in any given context. What I mean by that is, how many people do we know who say, oh, it's not the right time. I'm not going to launch my business now. Or I'm not going to have children now because it's not the right time. And they're waiting for it to be the right time, the right time, the right time. But you know what? It's never the right time. Okay? It's never the right time to have children, yet we have children. Right? It's never the right time to launch a business, yet we launch business and we succeed. Okay? So the greatest talent is actually being able to say, whatever the circumstances, whatever the environment, I will find a way to express my talents, my natural talents, which I do so well, to help the world and to help myself, my family, my business, etc. Okay? Don't forget that. And we know a lot of procrastinators. We know a lot of people, yeah, I'm waiting for. Life's too short. I think one of the things that we've learned from this crisis, life is too short. Health is critical. We don't know when our number is up, so we need to just go for it. Okay. And yes, it's a crisis, but it's also a period of great opportunity to reinvent ourselves and to invent our futures. And I want to be part, I'm sure a lot of people on this call want to be part of creating a better future and not going back to a past, right? In any case, the past is behind us. The second thing I wanted to say about leadership is great leadership in terms of talents is one, knowing how to express your own talents and then helping others identify and express theirs. Okay, for me, leadership, that is one of the fundamental things of leadership is I know my talents, I'm expressing them. I'm surrounded by people with talents. I want them to know what their talents are, and I want them to express it in the context of the purpose of our business. All right, that has a natural energy, which is absolutely huge. Okay, I see time's moving along, so we're going to go to aspirations, the third set here. So aspirations is what we want, okay? What we aspire to. It comes from aspirare, which is breathing. But here's the challenge, because we want a lot of things. So I'm going to make it a little more challenging. I'm going to ask you for your 3 aspirations, where the first one is, who do you want to be? But you only have a maximum of 3 words, okay? Who do you want to be? And we want to be a lot of things, but you can only have maximum 3 words, ideally even 1, all right? Mine is, I want to be myself. I'm already myself, but I want to be even more myself, okay? Number 2 is, what do you want to do? Again, 2 or 3 words. What's at the top of your list of what you want to do in life or in business, whatever? So that's your choice, okay? What do you want to do? Maximum 2 or 3 words. And the third is, what do you want to have? Again, maximum 2 or 3 words. These are the 3 major facets of who we are. Being, doing, and having, okay? So I'm asking you to come up with, who do you want to be? 3 words max. What you want to do most, 3 words max. And what you want to have, 3 words max. Take a moment to connect again to the heart. All right, this is coming from the heart. Don't go up to the mind, okay? You'll be tempted to go up here. Take a couple of deep breaths and ask your heart to reveal to you who it is you want to be, what it is you want to do, and what you want to have. 1.5 minutes on the clock, because time is shooting by. And then share it in the chat when you're ready. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And what do you want to have? Okay. And well done, first person in the chat, to keep that very short and sharp. So successful, things better, do things better, and to have a better world. Thank you for sharing. To be a true leader. Or have a true leader, depending on if you're the leader or not. Okay, what do you want to be, do, and have? Not an easy one, this one. People find it challenging, but the answers are in there and they will reveal themselves to you. Authentic. To be authentic, to drive positive impact, and to have pure happiness. Wow, I'm inspired. That goes straight to here. To be you, to be me, to be a great mum, inspirational and transformational leader. Wow. I'm tingling. It's a great privilege to share in people's values, talents, and aspirations. Express my authenticity. People inspiration coach, time and space free. Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. To be myself, to be successful, to do is success, and create polymath. Oh, interesting. Creative polymath. Fantastic. Wonderful. Resolved. Adding value. To have freedom. Fantastic. Being happy and energized, respected, doing, loving life, and having successful in all aspects of life. Wow. Okay. Achieve dreams without compromising other commitments, to inspire others to find their inner strength, and to make a positive impact. Wow. I'd love for us all to be in a room together. I would love to meet all of you and explore that, because it's inspiring. A daily review, to do good to society, to have a charming personality. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Do you see how, I mean, just hearing it, just going through the exercise of your aspirations, which is an energy source, remember, right? Just like the tree goes up to the sun, for the light and the sun, our aspirations are an energy source which help us drive our energy, and we want to go towards these aspirations of being, doing, and having. And I know we have a lot more, but at least having 3 just allows you to focus on what's the most important. And just like the values, living our values is such an energy source as well. And when you put them both here and then you put your talents in between, you're unstoppable. Okay, because if you're living your values, expressing your talents, and going towards your aspirations, how do you think your energy is going to be? How do you think your alignment, your authenticity, people are going to be attracted to you? They're going to sense this energy in you, this natural energy that we see everywhere in nature, yet we don't use ourselves, okay? And let me come to the conclusion of what you've created, okay, through these 3 values, these 3 talents, and these 3 aspirations. I call it the power of 9, okay, because there's 9. Now, the power is not just a word like that. It's a power because what you've done is you've created your central alignment line, as I call it, okay? Imagine a line going through you, and there are these round bubbles on the line, and here are your 3 values, and then your 3 talents, and your 3 aspirations, all on this line, okay? When you're on this line, living your values, expressing your talents, going towards your aspirations, you are at your best. You are high energy, you are just expressing your DNA and going towards what you want most in the world, okay? And we want to be on that line as often as possible, okay? But the reality is that we can't aim for perfection. We know that you know, we do a lot of things, but imagine this is your energy line where you're 100%. Instead of going like that between the different, you know, energy right, energy left, etc., we want to live within a close confinement's the wrong word in this context, but we want to live within these rail tracks, okay, so that we're actually going like this, okay, along this line, but never too far away. And what you've just done is you've identified what is on your line in terms of your values, your talents, and aspirations. Most people have no idea what a line is and don't know anything that's on it. And that's why we're sort of going left, right, and center all the time. Whereas now you have your energy line, your alignment line, and to stay within that. Okay, so now how does this connect to decision making? Okay, because you've identified your values, you understand why you can leverage your values in the ecosystem of values and aspirations. How does this relate to decision making? So I'm conscious of time, so very briefly, talking about decision making, there are 3 types of decisions that we take all the time, okay? It's so simple, it's, you know, small decisions, medium decisions, and large decisions, okay? And in the time we have, I'm going to have to keep it super simple. Small decision is, right, I go to a restaurant, I choose, I want pasta or I want pizza or I want noodles or whatever, right? That's what, actually, I haven't done that for 2 months actually, but that is a small decision. I'm looking forward to doing it again. But that is a decision, we're taking them all the time. What am I doing next? What drink am I gonna have, etc. Small decisions, okay? Medium decisions are, we're more in the realm of, right, where am I going on holiday this summer? What car am I gonna buy? Sort of these medium decisions, okay? And then large decisions, or very important decisions, are, right, am I gonna buy or sell my business? Who am I gonna marry? Where am I gonna live? Am I gonna have children or not? Sort of these very big decisions. And when we take decisions, there's normally sort of there's three areas we can go to, three of the most common areas, okay? I'm not a neuroscientist and things like that, but one is the mind, okay? The supercomputer I talked about earlier on, sort of, and that's a place we go to, you know, and we use our rationality, very practical approach, and we go to the mind, right? Pros and cons, is it good, is it bad? Okay, there's more pros, I take it. Or the heart, okay? The heart is where our feelings are, where our emotions are, right? Where we visualize, you know, especially in the big decisions, you know, can I see myself spending the rest of my life with this person? You know, how does that sit with me in terms of my emotions and things like that? Okay, that's the heart. And then there's the gut, all right? And the gut is, it's called a second brain. It's related to, I'm no expert on that, but the gut is where we get our intuition. So our intuition comes from there, and it's pre-verbal, meaning there's no language to it yet. It's just we get these gut feelings, this intuition, which is you know, safe or flight, fight or flight, and we're understanding more and more. So there are the three major places we go to take decisions, and obviously when we have small decisions, we won't necessarily have all three. But certainly when we have big decisions to take in terms of who am I going to marry, if I marry, or where am I going to live, normally you go to all three, okay? So how are we going to connect what we did before with the power of 9 into our decision making, okay? Well, number one is the most basic, the easiest. When I'm taking a decision, I'll go to the mind and do a pros and cons, and I'll rationalize something and use my experience, my competence, and make a decision, okay? Now, people that only live in the mind run a risk of actually being like me, which was unhappy as a successful lawyer because I was only living in the mind and not in the heart, okay? It was only the mind, and there was a huge emptiness inside. So now, when you take a decision, you now have your power of 9, your 3 values, your 3 talents, and your 3 aspirations, which you can use as criteria of what you're feeling from the heart, okay? So imagine you're taking a decision. Is this aligned with my values? Will it help me live my values? Will this decision help me express my talents? Will this decision take me towards my aspirations, okay? So what we've done is we've brought clarity in terms of the heart and given it 9 words, but 9 words that come from a place of you know, deep purity within inside you, okay? So that's something I invite you to do going forward. Whenever you're taking a decision, okay, small, medium, or big, because this can be applied to everything, look at your power of 9 again. Look at your 3 values, your 3 talents, 3 aspirations. They'll change over time as well, but it just gives you that criteria so that you don't forget your heart, okay? Because the mind is super loud, you know, the mind will do everything on its own if it can, but we need to go to the heart to link these 2 amazingly powerful forces. Otherwise, you're leveraging this, but you're not leveraging the heart, okay? Very simple. Number 2 is we have life choices in terms of our decision making, okay? We can choose our perspective, we can choose how we feel in a sense, all right? Now, let me explain what I mean by giving you an example, okay? So, and I'll take an example that applies to everybody, okay? So it's grocery shopping. I imagine that everybody on this call either does it regularly or has done it during their life, going grocery shopping, okay? I used to dislike going grocery shopping intensely. Okay, it wasn't my biggest problem by far, but it was just something that drove me nuts. Total waste of time. I'd get stressed before, during, and after. I'd go in, there'd be 10 checkout counters and only one was open, so there was a huge line. They moved the honey from left to right, so you don't know where things are. I would get myself in such a state, even though it was only grocery shopping, okay? How do I bring in my power of 9 that you've just created into this experience of grocery shopping to change it? Here's how, okay? Now when I go grocery shopping, I'm connecting to my first value, which is love, okay? Because why am I actually grocery shopping? I'm grocery shopping so that I can put food on the table in the evening and in the morning so my daughter can have her Cocoa Pops, my son can have his Nutella, and my wife can have her green tea. So now when I go shopping and I'm picking things out of the different places, I'm thinking of who's that for, and it's a little gift of love from me to that person, from me to my 7-year-old daughter as I grab her Cocoa Pops. I feel better about it, right? I feel good. And so I've integrated love into this experience, which before had no meaning at all for me. So I've gone from here to a little bit better. I still don't like shopping, but it's better than it was before. Number 2, one of my talents is being able to, let's say, calibrate my emotions, right? I speak in big conferences. I don't get nervous. I'm able to just manage my energy and my emotions as far as you can manage. I know that's the wrong word, but you see what I mean. But this is a moment where I'm totally kind of lost. I'm totally stressed. My neck is all tense. I get all red in the face and things like that. And so now what I do is when I go shopping, even before when I'm stressed, I'm observing myself getting stressed. And I'm laughing at myself saying, Jonathan, you're putting yourself in this state. No one else is bothering you or interrupting your life. It's totally coming from you. So now I laugh about it, right? And as I get stressed. So I've moved shopping from here up to here with love, and now up to here with calibrating my emotions. The third thing, one of my aspirations, is going with the flow, okay? I used to be a control person, and now I'm much more flowing, but I always want to be more in the flow, okay? Feisal and I have a lot in common. He's got a great book called 4 Steps to Flow, and he and I connected in about half a second. When I met him, I knew he was on the same page. And so here's an opportunity for me to go towards one of my aspirations where I don't control the supermarket and things like that. And it's an invitation to go with the flow. So I've taken grocery shopping from down here, something I dislike intensely, to something I like a little bit now. I don't say I love it, but I've changed my experience of something which was terrible for me to something where I'm living a value, I'm expressing a talent, and I'm going towards an aspiration. And you can do that with anything, okay? You can do that with anything. And I invite clients and friends to sort of just try and do it twice a day, then 3 times a day. And when it becomes your default, where you're constantly connecting heart with what you're doing. So I'm grocery shopping, but I'm living my values. I'm working, but I'm connecting the dots and communicating, and this constant flow. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to have to hurry up here a little bit. The final thing in terms of decision-making is this, okay? And the decision-making relates to how we react to things. Imagine you are a house, okay? I call it House of Jonathan, all right? And the 9 foundations that you've just come up with, the values, the talents, and the aspirations are the foundations holding up your house, okay? What happens when people kick at your foundations, all right? Be it your values, your talents, your aspirations. When people kick at that, your whole house shakes, right? You feel unstable. And what happens is we overreact, all right? If I love honesty and making a difference. If someone is dishonest with me, or I see dishonesty, I explode, right? But now that I understand that honesty is one of my pillars, and someone is knocking at that, I'm able to calm down because I understand what's going on. I understand that someone is kicking away at the foundations that are holding up my house, okay? And that helps you learn to not overreact. It teaches you to take a step back and go, I know what's going on here because my foundations are being kicked. I need to take a deep breath. I need to go for a walk. I need to not react immediately because otherwise I'm going to explode, like we all do. And we don't want to explode, right? Because we lose control. So use the power of 9 as the foundations to understand and help you make better decisions when you are reacting to things which are driving you to a volcanic explosion. Okay, 5 minutes to go. I'm going to quickly conclude and then open the floor to questions. And here's the conclusion, and I'll make it short so we get some questions. We're going into a very challenging period. Okay, we've already been through a challenging period, but the next 6 to 18 months are going to be absolutely dramatic. 2 things are happening. One, the foundations of society are being shaken, as I said earlier, right? The way we interact and things that we could hang on to are disappearing, okay? There's a new world coming and nobody knows what it's like. On this, and on the other thing is that we're going to get a barrage of bad news. Unemployment, businesses closing, people we know are going to die or have died, touch wood. People who are in safe jobs are going to lose their jobs. There's going to be a lot of bad stuff coming. And my fear is that it's going to affect the inner confidence of people. We all appear confident on the outside, but our inner confidence is often very different to what it looks like on the outside. And that is going to be truly tested. So when the foundations on the outside are shaking, we need to reinforce our foundations on the inside. And we need to help others do it as well. Because a lot of people are going to crack with the pressure, with this imbalanced energy that we're going through. So it's absolutely critical that you connect to the heart, use these 9, these 3 values, talents, aspirations in your decision-making so you can strengthen yourself on the inside, okay? And normally there's 2 things people need from us. One is our competence, our experience, etc. But the other thing is our energy. And people focus on the competence, etc., and not on their energy. And I don't want you to get a 60% Jonathan or a 60% Feisal or a 60% you. Everybody wants 100% you. We want the best of you. And so this helps with this energy line, this alignment line, so that your maximum energy, it helps you to come back to it, okay? Right, I'm going to have to stop there. Maybe the final thing I'll say is this, okay? And this is what I invite you to do going forward. I want you to make a commitment from this webinar to do something, whatever it is. Reread your Power of 9, to integrate some of the things I've said into your decision-making, into your thinking. Make sure you do something so that this energy ripples out, okay? We've created an energy altogether. We want it to ripple out. But here's the final thing that everyone can do. Every morning and every evening, we look at ourselves in the mirror, okay? And we see each other on the outside. I invite you from now on to look at yourself on the inside as well, okay? What I mean by that is remind yourself of your 3 core values, your 3 greatest talents, and your 3 deepest aspirations. Look at yourself on the inside and on the outside and get that energy flowing between the outside and the inside, okay? Finally, I hope this has brought you closer to your inner self. I hope it's brought you, realized our objectives, which were to have clarity on our talents and how to express them, have some practical tools to apply immediately, and I hope it's been a fun and energetic hour. Please express your talents towards improving your decision-making. You need it, your family needs it, and there's never been more of a time in the world where the world needs it. We need the best of you. It's been a privilege to be on this call with you, to serve you, to help you, and Feisal, back to you. Thank you.
So Jonathan, before we call it a day, and thank you very much for the incredible sharing. I redid the exercise. Obviously I have the privilege to be on the inside, but it was interesting to see some of the shifts that happened while I did the exercise right now. Again, what are some of the daily habits that you practice, other than the one you just shared that you do in the mirror, that you could share with everyone that they could maybe consider to uplift that energy, to bring that authentic self to to the world around them, their loved ones, what are some of the habits, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, with pleasure. So obviously, and on top of the looking in the mirror and looking at yourself on the inside, what I do is I do a breathing exercise every morning where I stand up and I do big breaths, sort of breathe in, breathe out. Okay, standing up, breathe in, breathe out. And what I'm saying at each breath is, one of my core values is love. I love in everything I do. So as I'm going up, one of my core values is love. I love in everything I do. One of my core values is honesty. I'm honest in everything I do. And I go through the nine respiration, breathing, where I'm basically putting a bubble. I see myself putting a bubble of energy over myself, right? I'm seeing myself put, love is all around me. It's inside me, it's outside me, it radiates from me, right? And honesty, and I come out of this 9 breaths exercise feeling so connected, so calm, so aligned, and even talking to you about it now, I'm getting the what's it called? I don't know the word.
Goosebumps.
There we go. Between French and English, I can't remember. I'm getting the goosebumps, and that just sets me off at the very beginning of my day. So the very beginning of my day is not checking up on the terrible news of the day before. It's not going to my calendar. It's going to, right, you know what? The very first thought of my day is about me and my energy. The rest of the world can wait 2 minutes, because whatever comes afterwards, I'm in such a better place than going bang straight into, you got to do 100 things today, and here's the bad news of the day, etc. Okay, that's one. That's one thing. Number 2 is like I say, take a few moments during the day just to stop and go, what values am I living here? What am I expressing into my talents? Am I going towards my aspirations? Okay, it's forming a habit. Start slowly. You do 1 thing a day, commit to do 1 thing a day, and then do 2 things a day. And over time, it becomes automatic, where you're expressing who you are in everything you do. What I call be as you do. All right, taking the best of, let's say, Eastern philosophies. I know I'm generalizing here, but the best of Eastern philosophies about being, and the best of Western philosophies about doing. Be as you do in everything, and you just have the sense that, I'm expressing my authenticity, I'm expressing my primary purpose. Did that answer the question?
Yes, that's beautiful, right? So from being comes doing.
Yes.
Right? That's the combination of the East and West.
Yes.
And from being comes doing.
Yeah.
Perfect. So thank you very much. Sorry, go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I've got a final story to bring it all together. We've all been on a plane, although not recently. There's the security briefing, and there comes a point where it says, put your oxygen mask on. And if you're traveling with someone else, they say, put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. And we've all learned to ignore that. But actually, it's such a critical message. And I invite every one of you to look at that moment, because basically what they're saying is, if you are in a good place, if you are breathing, if you are calm, you can help every single other person on that plane, as long as you have an extension cord for your mask. Okay? If you do it the other way around, I'm not going to put mine on first. I'm going to help my kids here, number 1, number 2. Once you get to the third person, you go, and you can't help anyone else. And what people tend to do is they want to help everybody else, which is great. But if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first, you're not going to have it all the same impact. And that's what the final thought I hope people take away. Take care of yourself, align with your energy, and express it to the world.
All right. Self-care and self-love. That's how it begins, right? We can't give what we don't have.
That's it.
100%. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for the honor and privilege to be of service. We'll be announcing new webinars very shortly. We really appreciate your time, energy to be here with us. The incredible sharing from the heart, really incredible. And we'll be seeing all of you very soon. Jonathan, thank you, as always. Love to bathe in this incredible energy. And those of you who have the privilege of working with him as a genetic care family know it's just one long ride. It's like going to an amusement park. All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Speak to you soon. Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Thank you.